you
go.
are.
Yay!
This is magic. Oh my
Hi!
gosh. Hi, how are
Video
you
recorded.
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm
I don't know which one to
wonderful.
look at.
I'm like, I
I'll
know,
choose
I
this
feel the
one.
same. Like, I look much prettier on TikTok, but the phone that's closest is Instagram. So I'm just gonna keep looking at that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
do the
just want
same
to
thing on
sit.
Instagram. This one I look nicer on.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep track. I mentioned before you popped on that I will try to keep up with questions from the comment sections, but I also mentioned I'm looking at two different phones. So, go ahead, and if I miss a question, just ask it again. Keep asking. It's fine. And yeah, we'll get into
Okay.
it. So, first, welcome. Sarah
Thank
Parker
you.
is joining me live from Australia. What time is it there right now?
11 midday.
Oh, okay. That's much better than I thought it was. For some reason, I thought that it was
Yeah.
like earlier than 9 a.m. your time. So I'm glad
No,
that
no, it's a
this
good time
time
for me
worked
because all
out.
the kids are at school. Otherwise, it would be rowdy here.
Perfect. Oh
Uh,
my gosh, my kids are in bed, but we're just gonna cross our fingers that they don't come down. You might get a hello. So for everyone who is just now tuning in, there will be spoilers for book one, at least. Well, there's going to be spoilers for book one throughout the whole live. There will be spoilers for books two and three as well, starting around 9:30 ish. So make sure to pay attention to that. So make sure to pay attention to the time. We'll try to give a warning, but I just want people to be aware so they don't ruin their lives. Um, To Bleed a Crystal Bloom was the book pick of the month of July for my book club. We alternate between light and heavy books each month, and this was a heavy month. Um, so
Whoopsies.
some of the questions will be, about themes and that sort of thing that are a little bit heavy. So just, if y'all are triggered by addiction, if you're not okay with like some toxic-ish romance, then perhaps this isn't for you. Um, am I hearing a bird?
Yes, I'm sorry. I've got a raven. I think it's a raven that lives out there, and I swear it mimics my daughter sometimes.
Oh my
It is
gosh,
wild. Yeah,
that
yeah, it's pretty
is
cool.
wild. I was like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure that's a bird. Also, you'll notice I am neurodivergent and have raging ADHD. So
yeah,
I have a list of questions to keep us
yeah.
like on track,
That's
but
perfect.
also we might do a little bit of like rabbit trailing.
Sounds good.
So
Okay.
awesome.
I'm down with
Awesome.
whatever.
Awesome. Um, okay, so first question that I wanted to delve into was something that my book club like took a minute to sort of like wrap their mind around, and that was writing from the perspective of an unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your process for doing that, how you kept everything straight without giving away too much. Um, yeah.
Well, to be honest, I mean, I didn't really struggle at all, but just sticking inside all I said for that first book because I mean, it really was. It was just, it was all just from her, and I mean that is tricky because obviously people are reading it and just getting this perspective, and I knew that for some people that would be quite a challenge with book one. It really is in a lot of ways. It's a prologue to the story as a whole,
Sure. Yeah.
because we are only getting the story from the point of view mostly. And yeah, I mean, obviously, I've got got a huge document of full of things that are hidden in that book, and that I had to tiptoe around, gently. But it wasn't hard for me to stay inside her mindset, to stay inside her head, because the story bloomed from there. The entire
It
story has come
bloomed.
from, yeah, yeah, has, has come from her unreliability. She's very cloistered, and it's yeah, that wasn't so difficult for me, but I knew it would be difficult for others, because again, they're getting a portion of the story. Um, and with this other whole story woven between the lines, that that the readers weren't seeing, and that I knew. So I guess, yeah, I knew that some people would follow along with that first story and they would be along for the ride, and others it would take a few books for them to be like, to read back and then be like, oh my gosh, okay, it was here, it was here, but I couldn't see it at that stage. Um, so yeah, I think it's very much about trusting the process with the story, and knowing that she is unreliable,
Yeah.
that things do unfold later on. Yeah.
I love an unreliable narrator. I mean, one of the things, I don't, this is not a spoiler for future books, but one of the things that I really like in a series, especially a fantasy series, is a first book that is insular and really focused on character development, and then an expanding world where you just get more and more and more. I feel like there's so much depth to a story that is shared in that way. Um, and especially taking into account Orlaith's trauma and how heavily addiction plays into this book. I mean, it was clearly very important that you developed that well and honored her journey there. I was wondering what inspired you to write that sort of like trauma addiction aspect of her story.
I mean, I think, for me, I've, you know, past life experiences. I've been around people who have, have been in, you know, have been addicted to certain things.
Sure.
I myself have got an extremely addictive personality. I know how easy it is to fall, to become codependent on something, and to sort of wrap a fence around yourself and think that, that this is my world, this is my, and to not be able to see over that fence. And for me, it was very cathartic to write. Well, it is very cathartic to write all life.
Yeah.
And her working her way through these traumas, and that are obviously connected to her addictions, and because quite often it is, quite often when there is an addiction, there's something underlying, there's stuff that we're struggling to get through.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I it's been a very healing story for me to write, and going through the process of the difference, with STEM and then Flame, and obviously onwards and throughout the rest of the series. Like, it's just it's almost like unpacking a package, and just working through those levels, and the journey was never going to be fast with her, because it never is.
Sure. Yeah.
Overcoming that sort of thing is never a jump from one to the,
Right.
from here to there.
Yeah.
And so, I wanted to stay true to that, because that's reality. And there, there's all sorts of, relapses involved with somebody that's got an addiction. So, yeah, I think it just, for me, it's been a very cathartic experience, and I wanted, her story to be as real as possible,
Yeah.
and to portray it, correctly. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think that you honored all of those things.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's interesting because I don't read a lot of like dark romance necessarily.
Mm.
I do read quite a bit of like dark fantasy. I deal with like heavy themes quite frequently. Um, but the way that you tell the story even though it's all, like I said, it's heavy, right? It was the heavy book pick of the month,
Yeah.
but also like you are able to weave these moments of beauty in. And I don't know if it's just your prose, like how it can be lyrical sometimes, um, or if it's just like the moments of like funny banter or like Kai just existing. But I never felt, or I wouldn't say I never felt overwhelmed. I did feel overwhelmed sometimes, but I never didn't trust the process, I guess,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. Someone just said, Sam, House of Fables just said, that's what I love the most. The healing from trauma is so nuanced and real. Yes, absolutely.
It's a
And then we've
windy
got,
road, you know.
yeah, I mean, how many books is the series going to be? Do you know?
Um, look, it was originally gonna look. This was when I first started. Like, it was originally going to be three. And I realized after the first, I was like, "There's no way." And it was going to be four. Now it's about six. Okay,
Okay, okay.
about.
So it's going to be, Sam just said, give me 10. We can,
Look, STEM was supposed to be STEM plus Flame. That was supposed to be one whole book, and then I had to cut it in half because it was huge.
yeah.
So it's yeah, like it's for me to get the whole story in and for me to do it justice, and I won't not do it justice. I'm not just going to skim over, her healing process, and each of the characters, they've got stuff going on. I'm not going to skim over any of that. Just to I'm going to give the story what it deserves, and yeah. So if it takes me 6 books, it takes me 6 books. If I can get it done in 5, I'll get it done in 5. But I'm thinking it's probably going to be 6.
Okay. Okay. Well, that is helpful. um, so sticking with book one, even though I want to like delve into all of this later more deeply,
Mm-hmm.
but the dynamic between Roar and Orlaith is something. Without spoiling books 2 and 3, how did you navigate the darker aspects of the relationship while still keeping readers rooting for them at least occasionally?
Look, I didn't go into it with a game plan. I had a story to tell, and I just went in there. As you say, like, very unreliable narrator.
Yeah,
So we're getting things entirely from her point of view.
yeah.
So I wasn't afraid to show these darker sides because it is it's a heavy topic, and I mean, we can't help what our heart yearns for.
Yeah.
So I look, I yeah, I wasn't, so I didn't go in there with a game plan.
Sure.
I was just writing the story that came to me. I was just writing, yeah, and hoping that everyone else was going to love the story as much as I did, and that they were going. I knew by the end of that book one that there would be, and there was at the end of book one, I had this sort of ship war going on, and I
Oh yeah.
expected that to I expected that. So I was very nervous releasing the next book, knowing which way that was going to, quite
Hmm.
possibly that half of my readers were going to go that way and half of my readers were going to stay on the ship. And so, that was scary because I just had to hope that, that people are going to trust the process and want to come along for the ride. Um, knowing that I had a story to tell and I was going to tell it the way it was screaming for me to be told. So,
Yeah.
hopefully, yeah, it's nice that some people have trusted me and they're coming along with the ride. Yeah,
I don't know how people don't trust you. I will say I was I was wrong. I won't go into it. I won't go into it until like 10 minutes from now. But oh man. Anyway, okay. Okay. Like next
Sorry.
question before I like give something away. Um Along those lines, we sort of learn about mates in book one.
Mm-hmm.
They're referenced in book one. And
Yeah.
Riordan specifically calls them a fairy tale ending in tragedy. I just want to um, confirm we're getting a happy ending at some point, like end of book 6. will will this be
Yes.
a
Yes.
tragedy?
There will be
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
To be, I mean, hey, look, I'm not going to say it's not going to hurt getting there, but yeah, I'm a very, happily ever after advocate.
Awesome.
Yes, very much so.
Awesome. Someone just commented "Millage" in all caps. As we don't know what that means yet, but we kind of know
Not
what
yet,
that
not yet.
means. We'll talk about that a little more in a few minutes. Um, okay, the book of making taught us so much. I literally flip back to that chapter. Like I flip back all the time when I'm reading because I'm just like, who is
Yeah.
this? Who could this be? Who could this be?
Mm.
Um, were you inspired by any like ancient mythologies when sort of coming up with this world, or did you just sort of like,
Yeah, no. See, we had this question. I was on a panel at a Polycon, and we had a similar question to this, but that whether or not if we pull from any certain mythologies, or I don't know a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I'm I'm very, like, I feel like I'm very in a lot of ways cloistered myself in that way. I don't, I know it just just followed my
okay,
mind. So
well,
yeah, no, I wish I had more interesting answer there, but I don't, unfortunately.
no, the only reason I'm disappointed in that answer is because I can't like look up some sort of pre-existing mythology and just like solve the mystery
Sorry.
based on a clue. But it's fine. I'll just sit in it. I do have ideas. I'm not gonna right now, but I have ideas. Um, Speaking of ideas, this I can talk about because it was in book 1. I noticed a thing with food. And you can tell me if you don't want to talk about this, if it's gonna be a thing. But I was rereading when Orlaith is like in the throes of some sort of like I don't remember if it's she's just like coming down or like um she's what's it called when you're an addict and you can't get what you need? Why can't I remember?
She's on a come down? On
Yeah, so
withdrawals.
withdrawals. Yeah, so okay, so she's like experiencing heavy withdrawals and nothing sounds good and she's refusing to eat and Zali is there and Baze is there and Roar hands her food and all of a sudden she's like, oh, I can eat and this is the most delicious bland roll I've ever had in my entire life. And I'm like, ma'am, I think food is an indicator of something. And then Roar never eats, but she shoves food in his face and he has to eat it. And he eats it. I'm just wondering, am I on to something? Can you even tell me if I'm on to something? Oh, shit. Okay, great.
I'm not going to say anything else, but yes.
Okay, okay,
Maybe.
okay, cool. Cool. Excellent. I'll just move on to the next question so I don't like lose my mind. Oh, we have to talk about Kai because book 1 Kai is like I mean, like all like Kai in general is like my favorite. But book 1 Kai really like just stole my heart. Um, and I was just wondering like is he based off of someone? Like is he just like who you wish was a best friend? Like
Don't we all want a mermaid best friend? I
yes,
mean,
I do.
absolutely. No, no. So I didn't base him off anybody in particular. He just popped into my brain, and he just did not. He just fluttered about. He didn't leave, and I was like, you know what, mate, you're staying there. You're
Was
staying there.
Did you always plan for him to have such like a prominent role in the story?
Uh, yes and no. I When I was sort of halfway through writing book one, I was like, oh, actually, this is more than I expected it to be.
Sure.
And I also saw unique opportunities, for him to help me expand the world.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't when I first dreamt up the story, he wasn't like such a, it was yeah, no, that definitely evolved. But then by the time I was finished with the first draft, he was very heavily involved. So, but yeah, no, he quite often I go into a story and I've got everything sort of mapped out. But he was definitely one that evolved as I was writing him. I just loved him so much, and I was
Yeah.
like, you just need to be everywhere.
Yes. I
Yeah.
I love him. I'm yes. Um Something else I caught on this reread. And I don't feel like this is a spoiler because it's all within the book. I'm just like putting the puzzle pieces together.
Mm-hmm.
But is he is either an original or a son of an original, correct?
Correct.
Oh fuck. I also figured that out. Wow. Great. I'm swearing a lot. I hope that this is not going to get me in trouble. But okay, so let me break it down for anyone who didn't catch that. Okay? So is going through I have like full body goosebumps right now. Okay. When he is going through the book of makings, right? The book, yes, the book of making. When he's going through the book of making with Orlaith, there's a picture of like mermaid type dudes. And she asks, and there's a picture where one of them is like transforming and has legs. And she asks, she's like, oh, like that's weird. Like I've never seen you do that. Like, can you do that? Or she didn't say like, can you do that? But she said something along the lines of like, who can do
On
that?
the tabs.
And he said, I know. I'm like, I don't want to try to find it. I don't want to lose
Feathers.
my thought. But he says the originals could do that, or the direct descendants of originals could do that. And then at the end of the book, Rorden comes up and he's like, Kai, what the hell? And Kai's like, okay, I guess I'll come out of here and put some pants on. And I distinctly remember the the paints because things were exposed, and he was like, "Are you feeling threatened?" And it was very hot. Anyway, so okay, well, I just want everyone to know that I'm smart. Okay, great. Um, Speaking of things that I am smart about, maybe we should get into full series. Well, we've got 3 minutes. We've got 3 minutes before I officially said that we would like delve into full series. So if you have any specific questions for book one to Bleed a Crystal Bloom, now is the time.
I'm
I'll
trying to keep
scroll.
an eye on the questions down here, but I've been hopeless. I've got to admit. I'm sorry. I've been
No,
trying.
I'm good. I'm good. People love Kai. That's a given. Um, as they all should. Okay, perfect. Well, um, this is a good sort of segue question, I guess, into spoilers for the rest of the series. If anyone wants to like jump in, like by all means, drop a comment. Um, but from the prologue of book, so the prologue of book one is from Vorden's perspective. It's always been
Yeah.
clear that he is a key to the story, that he's as important as she is. Um,
Mhm.
did you know from the beginning how their relationship would play out?
Yes.
Are you a heavy outliner?
I am. Yeah, I am. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Very much so. Yes. I know
Okay.
how the whole series will end. I mean, obviously things change. They always do. You get into things, you realize that, this part of the segment of the puzzle is actually bigger than you anticipated it to be. I got into, as I was, saying earlier, that I got into STEM, which was originally STEM plus flame, and
Right.
realized that, for me to unpack her, relates emotional trauma and to work through things for her, it was going to take me a lot more words than I thought I was going to take. So, I but yes, no, I have very specific outlines, and I don't force myself to stick with what I've planned. If I get there and something's calling me in another direction, I will take, I will take that other route. Um, yeah, mostly speaking, I've got very specific stepping stones that I'm bouncing between um, on my way to the end. So, the waters are murky between those stepping stones, but I'm jumping between them. So aiming for them, yeah. So
I just as like so I right in preparation for this live. I read the book along with my book club. And I was just curious if like your writing process to leave all of these little breadcrumbs, like do you go back and like insert them? Are you just like
no, 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 no. That is, if it's pre-planned from when I first started writing Bloom. So yeah, no, it's the with this series. If I've done my job right, by the time we get to the end, each book that releases, the previous ones will light up a little bit more, hopefully.
so I'll just need
And
to reread the end. So I'll just every time. Cool. It's okay. I'm here for it. I've got the important part marked. So, this was me being easy too. I don't normally like annotate my books, but because I have the like
the hardbacks.
yeah, because I have the hardbacks and I have the Lit Haven special editions coming too. I was like, it'll be okay if I hurt this one a little for the cause.
It doesn't mind. It's beautiful. It's feathered.
Yeah.
I love it that you've done it in very mermaid colors as well. Very Kai colors.
Yeah, I did. I did specifically like look at the colors. Question. Oh, someone asked, what's the title of book 4? I don't know if you can say that. I'm gonna assume you can't. Okay, just had to ask. It doesn't hurt.
Sorry.
That's okay. Okay, so along with addiction and like, trauma, another serious theme of the book is the abuse, like certain religions, like the shoelock in general and like cult-like practices, especially coming to a peak in book 3. What drew you to explore that topic? Did you intend for the book to like go that dark, or were you sort of like in the moment and you were like, we're gonna really do this?
No, I mean, as you know, I plan.
Yes.
I plan heavily, and I look, it's either go all out or don't with me.
Sure.
with most things,
Yeah.
I don't tiptoe around the edges of things. I deep dive. So just the fact that it's in the story, I was never going to be just skimmed across. So yeah.
Is it also? I mean, was that also just like all from your brain, or did you like research like weird culty things, or like?
No.
It's just all up there. Damn, girl.
All on there.
I would love to live in your brain for a day, but I might have to leave after because that was like so I'm not normally. I don't read like horror, right? But there were definitely some like horror elements to it. And it was just so, again, I think that I can like read it and like enjoy it because of your prose. Like I think that you find beauty even in some disturbing shit.
Yes.
Oh, someone just asked, will dragons ever be included in the Bloom world? I might be asking because of a Pinterest board.
No.
Okay, we've got the sea drakes. We've got the big we've got the sea dragons, if you will.
That's not that.
Yeah, fair enough. Who is Orlake's dad? Okay.
You will find out in the next book. next book.
Okay. Oh my gosh. The next book is called To Describe a Daddy.
Something.
That's the working title. Excellent, excellent. How big of a role is Kai going to play in future books? Would you,
Yeah,
like,
he's throughout this. Yeah, he's throughout the whole series. So yeah, I
okay,
mean, yeah, but he as much of a role as Baze and Zali plays, he's going to play. Yeah, I'm
okay.
hiking him along for the ride. So
This is a good opportunity since it is 9:34 and we're into spoilers for the full series. I just want to say I was team Kai,
mm,
like sold, right? Like
yeah,
100% team Kai. And then I was like, "Oh, maybe I'm team Kanan." and then and then I was like, "Oh no, I shouldn't be." And I was very I just didn't get it. But I understand, like, sorry, I'm tripping over my words a little bit, but like
you're fine.
as someone who doesn't read dark romance, like
Hmm.
almost ever, um I was just unfamiliar with the idea of like a redemption arc, right? Like for the love interest, because
Hmm.
typically in the books that I'm reading, it's like the love interest is maybe he's the villain, but like as Raven would say, he's the villain to everyone but her, you know, for you, not to you type deal.
Yeah,
But Rora's like an asshole to her. He's so mean.
yeah, he was.
And so like going on this journey of the redemption arc was like really, really profound. Someone just said, I can't wait to be back in Castle Noir. Someone said, yes, Team Kai. Um, Someone just said, will Orlaith start to explore her abilities and powers in book 4?
Yes.
Cool. I'm like, who's going to train her to do that?
Hmm.
I don't know. Anyway,
Wait and see.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. Um, I feel like Rora's a god, but I can't figure out which one he is. Can you? Uh, I know you can't tell me. Should we? Is there anything like? Do we have all of the information that we need? We just need to put it together
To work out who he is.
to work out who he is, or not yet? We
Yes.
don't have. We do.
No, yeah, I think there's. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's enough there to piece it together. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
keep reading. I'm gonna do my reread a third time and just really get in there with the annotations. So getting into like ongoing stuff, book 4
Mm-hmm.
things. Um, if if we could have like a spice level,
What?
in
Sorry.
if we could have like a spice level,
Oh yes. Yep. Yep. Yep.
um, like where are we at on a scale?
So the look, I'm not very good with knowing how like what should. So what would people say
Just
flame
in
was in regards to a
comparison,
spice level? Yeah, like
I would say like in
what
comparison to past books, like in the series, would you say we're like
well in
increasing?
comparison to flame, like sort of go like flame here and the next one like here.
Oh
Lots
shit,
more.
great.
Yeah, lots more.
Someone just said, please,
Yeah.
Lord Jesus, let Orlaith go into heat again with Rorden. But
Book
doesn't that
four's
just happen one time?
flaming.
What'd you say?
No, not just one time. Not just one time. No, not just one time.
Oh, okay, great. Is
So
this is this like an Omegaverse thing?
I don't read a lot of Omegaverse.
Neither do
Is
I. So I just don't know. All I know is that he is involved in Omegaverse books.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, like, look, it's it is definitely can happen. It definitely happens more than once. So that is
Excellent.
it's a possibility in the future stories. But yeah, definitely in the next book, spice level ratchets up significantly. So
Okay. Okay. Um, what are you most looking forward to with the series? Not obviously like spoiler wise, but like,
mhm.
is there a moment that you'll feel, um, I don't know, uh, accomplished? Like, are you working towards like one goal or are you working towards the end? Like, how do you break up your story?
I'm always working towards, towards, yeah, I've always got that end because as you know, I plan. So I've always got that end and stuff. There's areas that I'm still trying for that I'm trying to get to. And I have been since I, laid down the first word in book one. So, um, yeah, I think it's hard to narrow it down to just one thing. Um, but most of those things that I have been looking forward to are in the rest of the story. I feel,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. So I've been, it's obvious it's been like work the life through the stuff that she's been through in the first three books and through her trauma and through, and helping her find her feet in this world and find her, like work out who she is and just overcoming certain things like that's like it's so it's hard, and I've been looking forward to getting her to the point where we can see her blooming and where we're growing with her and we're feeling strong with her and so yeah a lot of these sort of payoff I guess stepping stones that I'm hopping towards are coming up in the next few books and I'm excited. It's a privilege to watch her beginning to really just flower. So I'm just I'm very excited about the rest of the story.
will the
Again,
world be
it's yeah.
expanding again?
Yes, yeah. I'm expanding the world. Every book, each book, the world expands a little bit more. So we get to obviously because we've seen it all through, her like she hasn't been around,
Yeah.
so we're seeing a lot of this through her eyes, seeing the world expand through her eyes. But obviously, I've got other characters that I use to expand the world as well and show us. But yeah, specifically over the next couple of books, that the world is expanding. We're getting a full. View. So I'm really about
I'm excited about that
to dig
too.
into the lore and stuff. So yeah, yeah. I feel like at the end of Flame, I think at the end of Stem, I felt quite um, wound up because I had finished the book where I didn't want to finish it. I wanted to finish it at the end of Flame.
Oh no, we're
I mean, it was
paused.
a package deal. That
Oh,
was the
you're
arc that I
back
wanted to
on
present as the second part of the
TikTok. Okay,
story.
there we are.
Um,
Sorry, I
oh,
lost you for just like
oops, sorry.
30 seconds.
No, you're
You
right.
said by the end of
So
Flame.
my internet has been patchy. Oh, by the end of Flame, hang on, rewinding my brain. At the end of Flame, I, that was the whole arc that I was wanting to present, Stem plus Flame, right? So I, I was always planning, like, from that point onwards, I always knew that I'd be a little bit released, I guess, and that I'd be able to really dig my teeth into this world and the lore, and that everything would I'd have my stepping stones very solid going forward, and so yeah, I'm very excited to feel unleashed now with the story, and I can kind of I'm just really pumped for the rest of the story. I hope everyone else is going to enjoy it as much as I'm enjoying it inside my head. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Um, I'm excited too. We have two questions. Can you say anything about the random mysterious pin board? I think someone's talking about a Pinterest board,
Oh,
maybe. Should people just get off of there?
I can't say anything about that at the moment.
Okay, okay.
We will
Um,
find out more about that before a Polycon next year.
okay. I'll be there. No. Should we be worried for Baze and Zane? I think that maybe they meant Zolly. Should we be worried?
I know that I think they're doing Bays and Zane. So Zane third book, because they're obviously being yeah, so they're yeah. For those who have read book three, then they're together now. Um, I think I, I don't want to say yes or no. Like, I'm not. I don't tiptoe around things. Like they've got stuff to go through. But I love those characters. I love them. They're my babies. So
Okay. Someone just said, so you're telling me everything to this point has been Sarah leashed, and then they're. Um, Someone said, can we confirm or deny or not say that the beast in Castle Noir is Rye or Ray, R-A-I?
I cannot confirm nor deny any of that. You will
Please.
find out in the next book.
Okay, excellent. Oh my gosh, we're getting so much in the next book.
Yeah.
How far into your draft are you?
I'm a wee way through, but I'm at the moment, so I'm not announcing any dates for
Oh, of
release
course.
or anything until I've from now on. So just because of like last year, I had a date for STEM, and then I realized it was so much bigger than I was anticipating, and I released, it as two halves, STEM and Flame, and it was it almost, I swear, it almost killed me. And
Yeah,
I had to both with both as well. I had to push each back a month, and that killed me because I felt like I was disappointing people. So
yeah.
from here on out, I'm basically, once the books are edited, then I will announce, and let everyone know, and put the pre-order up and let everyone know they're coming. Or I'm basically waiting until my stories are at a certain point before I. But it means that I'm hard at work. So I know I've been quiet lately, but it's just because I've been head down, bum up, just working hard. So but no, I will, as soon as that bad boy's ready, is edited, I will be shouting it from the rooftops. So you never know when that could be.
You're gonna pull a Beyonce who just drops an album out of
Yeah,
nowhere and then everybody freaks out.
that's
Excellent.
that's the plan.
Awesome. I mean, when in doubt, like follow Beyonce's lead is my opinion.
Well, I
Um,
do as well. I think I work so much better when I don't have strict, like this is like, honestly, like, so much better. It's incredible. I fly when I'm not sort of, when there's not this horizon that's just looming. It's, it can be quite daunting, having that
yeah.
looming, just counting yourself down constantly, and you're sort of focusing too hard on that you don't sort of, release it. Since I've stopped doing pre-orders, which is only obviously with this book that I haven't had one. I've been a new woman. So it's,
Yeah.
yeah, doesn't mean I'm not working. I'm working just as hard as ever, but yeah, honestly, I'm probably working more because I've got a bit more time these days to work. So yeah, it's just, I will drop it suddenly. I'll drop the pre-order suddenly, and the book will be literally done. So
I'm so excited. Everybody in the comments are like, great, that's fine. That's wonderful. Just so that we're
cool,
all like,
perfect.
excellent. Someone said, I like quiet Sarah. That means Sarah's writing.
Yeah.
Someone said, if you had to pair Orlaith with one of the sun gods from your other series, who would it be and why? So for those of you who don't know, Sarah also writes under S.A. Parker. Do you still write under that name? What's the relationship between
No, so I mean,
all of the things?
Skye Parker was it was a series. So for those who have read it, A Token's Worth was my very first story, and I wanted, that's reverse harem. It's very dark, very dark. When people ask for the darkest reverse harem, like, quite often you'll see Token's Worth will be, what put forth. So I did a lot of my learning under, in that series. That's, it's my learning egg, and I when I wrote Bloom, I realized this is, I didn't aim for a specific genre, but I was like, this is fantasy romance. This is not, under the same sort of umbrella as the previous stuff that I've written. So I started with Sarah A. Parker, and what I write going forward will be under Sarah A. Parker, because that's more the stuff that I'm writing at the moment and what I'm drawn to. So
Yeah.
yeah, anything I release in the future will be under Sarah A. Parker.
Awesome.
I can't remember the original question. I'm sorry.
They
I
were
do
just
that. I
saying
ramble
if you
on.
were to pair, so this is a
Oh, that's right.
question really targeted specifically towards Kim, the person who asked the question, because a lot of us haven't read the first series because I mean, I didn't even know that you wrote it until I was literally researching for this live, and I was like,
Yeah.
what? But the question was, if you had to pair Orlaith with one of the sun gods from your other series, who would it be and why?
It would be Arrow, because he can read thoughts, and I feel like that would be mighty handy to overcome a hell of a lot of the miscommunication that happens in Crystal Bloom series. So yeah, it would be that. He would just call her out in her shit,
As
but
much as
yeah.
Orlaith is an unreliable narrator to us, she's an unreliable narrator to everyone that she speaks to as well. So
Yes, exactly. Yes, correct.
someone said, do we get to learn more about Vicious and the next book? I love these two together.
Yes, 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 yes.
Very cool. Does she ever? Well, I guess maybe that's a spoiler. One of the things that I like about Vicious so much is that like there's this communication barrier, but they communicate in other ways.
Other ways.
Um, will they? I don't know if it's a spoiler. Like, will they ever be able to like hold a conversation? Like, will? I don't know how to ask
We're
this.
getting there. We're getting there.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
getting there.
I couldn't tell if it was like, if this was like disability representation with someone who like is just mute and like they can't speak, or if this is just like we don't know the language yet.
No, yeah, she's very, yeah, she's very much kept to herself, and that she hasn't been, I guess, driven to learn the language, to learn how to communicate in any ways. I mean, she communicates in her own way, as you know,
Yeah.
but obviously, but yeah, so there is this barrier between her and Guy, because he communicates a different way. So
Yeah.
we're it's more of a coming together sort of situation.
Okay. Cool. What was your favorite scene to write in each book?
Oh, well, that's tricky. Let me think.
It's okay. It's okay if you get your books confused because we are in the spoiler portion. So if
Okay,
you
no, all good,
accidentally
all
get
good.
them confused, it's okay.
I think for book one, I liked the when she was doing the whispers and placing them in the wall.
Yeah.
I those. Yeah, I just absolutely, like, I was in my element, and in those parts of the book. So, weaving in these little snippets and these little pops of her past and stuff. So I just adored writing those scenes. They were, yeah, very close to my heart. And then I think for book two, I liked writing the one. So in the shower with her and Rawdon.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was my favorite. I just loved giving it to him, you know what I mean? Like, just being like, it was very much, I had that scene planned since I wrote the other scene in book one, where he, and then he tells her to, F her own fingers in the future. And then I was like, we just need this. We all need it. We need it. And yeah, so I just had so much satisfaction from writing her just being that, just taking
Petty.
control. And that's,
Just
yeah, oh yeah, I'm just petty
just
to the bone.
I love, yeah, that was very good. It felt very satisfying as a reader to just be like,
Yeah.
fuck you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even though he's very misunderstood, I just, for her, it felt very good for her, because he was not very nice to her in that
Yeah.
first book in places.
Yeah.
So, and then book three, the scene where they were in the little hut together, and
Thinking back.
and she she woke and she was curled on top, like sleeping on him, and she was, she allowed herself to have that moment for just a little bit, like that little moment of like, I love this. And then she was like, I need to, get up, and she went to get up and he was awake, looking at her, and then on her, where where all of her 12 blooms were, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was that for me was, I loved writing that scene. It was like I was, finally peeling back this hard shell on this egg. So that, we've been trying to get into for a long time. So and just seeing that it's actually soft and squishy inside. So yeah, I loved that. I loved writing that. I was in my element. Yeah,
I
the
need to
entire
reread those again.
the entire second half of that book just flew out of me. To be honest, I just flew out of me. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was in my element for that second half of Flame. So yeah.
Would you say the toxicity
Mm.
of the relationship is sort of like going to be kind of like phasing out throughout the rest of the series? Like, have we reached
Oh yeah.
peak toxic? Okay.
Yeah. They've been through some shit, as we all know, but there's definitely going to be a lot more communication going forward, and there's yeah, obviously there's still stuff they've got to work through, as with everything. There
Yeah.
is still a lot of stuff they've got to work through, and hard stuff too, um, very challenging stuff. But it's it's they're working towards a combined goal now, as opposed to just battling each other constantly. So yeah, yeah.
I'm excited for that. We've got so many questions just off of that. Okay, so where was this? What made you decide to settle on Orlaith being chased for the penultimate spicy scenes? Loved it immensely.
Um, I, she's always like, even in STEM when she was running, the through the city, and and she didn't, wasn't certain it was him at that stage, but she could feel him, like she was enjoying it, so it's part of, um, you know, like it's just part of this, it's the whole primal thing, and for me it was never sort of going to go any other way.
Well, I
It
mean, for so long, right? Like all she wanted was his attention and he was withholding completely. So the idea of him chasing after her
Mhm.
is like, as a reader, it's like that's what she deserves, right? That's what she's
Yeah. Oh
deserved
yeah.
all along.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when I read it, at least I was
Yeah.
like, good, like good.
Yeah. And that's how I felt writing it as well. I felt like this is, it just felt right. It felt
Yeah,
right, like, yeah, for both of them.
yeah.
So yeah, because it was almost like him being unleashed as well, and it's also felt right for him, for knowing what he is, you know, inside, um,
Yeah.
his beast. So it just felt right for me, for both of them, and yeah.
I agree. Um, okay, now I'm going over to the TikTok questions.
I can't
Oh
remember which
gosh,
one is TikTok and which one.
I don't know how far to go back. I know I get confused too. I know
Yeah.
that it's TikTok because it's vertical. Um, will we be calling her Orlaith or Saren in the remaining books?
Um, there'll be a little bit of both, but she knows herself as all life, you know,
Yeah.
um, and like I can't just strip that away, but there will be. Okay, there's spoilers. I can't. I'm sorry. There's spoiler stuff that I can't go into, but yeah, there will be. Yeah, I can't.
Okay.
I can't.
Okay.
It'll ruin things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Sam again said yes. The hut, her haircut, and sharing food, their morning cuddle, crying
Oh,
faces.
the haircut. Sorry, that was actually my favorite. Oh, that one. I'm sorry. I think that might have been. I like that. I set that in a different part of my mind, but I think that might even actually be my favorite. Yeah, that my favorite scene in book three. that was, yeah, I was bawling writing that. So yeah, anyway.
Was that sort of an homage to like the like hair cutting I don't want to say trope, right? But like in film, like in class, like in film, a haircut is very like symbolic of huge transformation and stuff. Was that sort of what you were channeling? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm thinking of the Royal Tenenbaums right now, but it's fine. That was a turning point in her relationship. All of her favorite parts are mine too. Excited for the audiobooks. Do we have any audiobook news?
I think the third one just released.
Oh my gosh, congratulations. I don't know how I missed
Yeah,
that.
I think it
That'll be
might have been
great for my
last week or something. I've been in a
reread that I
hole.
need to
It's
do
that's
now.
somewhere. I think it was a couple of weeks ago.
I love it. I love me some Sassy Cook. Will she make appearances in the remaining series?
Never say never, but yeah, never say never.
Okay, okay. Oh, someone said, is Kane an easy character for you to write?
Um, he's not the easiest. I find Baze is my easiest character to write. Um, but no, he's quite complicated actually.
Yeah, I feel like he's
Yeah, no,
super
I
complicated.
some of his scenes come to me really, really easily. The one with um, spoiler, in book three, the one with his mother in book three, where
Yeah.
he,
Oh
you
my
know,
God.
that scene had written itself in my head, like in it like yeah, just easy. Like it was, and it fell out of me when I actually wrote it. It was just like it was exactly how I pictured in my head. There was no me needing to go back and make sure that um, yeah, that he just sometimes very easy, sometimes the complete opposite, and I'm like wrestling him. So yeah, there's kind of so I put him in the hard category because it's yeah, there's no easy medium, but Baze is very very he's I just love writing Baze, so he's definitely my easiest.
He's your easiest?
Yeah, Baze is, yeah, for sure.
I, yeah. He feels, it's interesting because I never was like shipping Orlaith and Baze. He's always been like the good bad big brother
Yeah.
in my mind. Yes. Okay, we've got a couple questions left, and then we're gonna wrap this up. Um, I don't think I'm gonna ask that one. Just because sorry, Kim, I think that's gonna be a long question. Same thing for Michelle Morris. Oh boy, we've got lots, all of the questions are coming in right now. Is there an ETA for the Flame hardcover?
Yes, end of September. So
Okay,
end of September for it to be released. Yeah.
awesome. I'm so sorry, y'all. These questions came in right at the end of the live, but maybe I'll screenshot them and I'll send them to Sarah, and maybe she'll like, I don't know. She can answer them if she wants to at some point. But thank you so much for spending your time with us. Thank you so much to like everyone in the book club who took a chance on a book that I probably didn't explain very well because I felt like I couldn't, because I'm like, how do you explain this book? But it's this series is, obviously, like, it's one of my absolute favorites, and I just can't wait to see the world expand again. So,
Thank
thank
you
you,
so much for
Kim.
having me, and thank you for putting the book forth for your reading month. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you for this evening or this day, and also thank you for everyone who has tuned in and listened to us chatter.